Okay, this is the garage south exterior wall, the southeast corner. This is the electric meter. It has been sealed. The power is below grade. It has been sealed, but the siding is soft. And see this detail over here for our power supply conduit? Well, we should have the similar detail around the meter. That's the way the siding installer should have done. Now coming in here, our power supply below grade, this conduit should have a slip joint on it so that as the ground moves, it doesn't put any undue pressure on the meter box. And over here we can kind of see how it's just kind of like angled here a little bit. That's the undue pressure because it did not have the slip joint. So it's definitely showing some signs of movement. Minor, but you know, it illustrates why we do this. One thing I cannot see, and I was privileged to another home inspection report, and so neither one of us can find the main ground for the electrical system. So I'm not sure where it might be located. I'm not sure where it's not located. I can't find it. So it just makes the report. Inside the garage, inside the south exterior wall, that's on the south interior wall of the garage, this is our main electric load center. Okay, some people call it the breaker box, some people call it the service panel, call it what you will. But if you go into Home Depot and you try to buy one of these, you're going to go over to the load center. So that's what we're going to call it today. We do not have a main principal outside. We do not have a main principal inside. When this home was built, it's called 5 throws in the span of a hand. If you can de-energize this in 5 throws, that's considered a disconnect, but it's not a main principal. By today's standards, we want one switch, and preferably on the outside of the building. Where does it become retrofitting? Where does it become, I don't know. So, but I do know we don't have a main principal. It is a safety device. I am calling it out. Okay, now this is L1 and L2 in our main ground. Our main ground should be wrapped with 4 strands of white tape at a minimum. Okay, not all in one spot either. It's supposed to be spread out. If you don't know that's the main ground, you don't belong in this box. I get that. But that's what the code says. It should be wrapped with white tape, and it's been the code for a long, long time. Now we got L1 and L2 coming in here. That's how this big old nice hairy knockout spacer. See, that's there for a reason. We've got to get these guys in here. We need them. So we have knockout spacers at different places. All right? But then we've knocked out knockout spacers in other places, and we've lost our fire blocking through these spaces. If this cabinet melts down, this is going to shoot right down in that hole. It's just going to burn up the wood outside of there. And then when they brought all these in, see these guys? These single break. That's what these little knockouts are for. Okay, you're not supposed to bring in more than 3 at a time. I think 2 at a time. But anyway, you're not supposed to bring them all in like that. That's the easy way to do it. They just knocked a hole in it, brought it all in there. It's called bundling. You're probably going to find bundling on that house, that house, that house. Come over to my house, you'll find some bundling. I get that. I'd hate apologizing for my work. But the vintage of the house, again, that's probably what you're looking at is bundling. Is it right? No. Am I writing it up? You bet I am. Okay, so we're moving on along here. Let's start looking at our circuit breakers. We don't have a main principal. L1 and L2 should have protective rubber booties or neoprene or cardboard, non-conductive covers on them. If you don't know that's hot, you don't belong in this box. We get that, but that's what you're supposed to have. Coming on along down here, we've got our circuit breakers. This is a nice 50 amp breaker. This is for the HVAC condensing unit. It's rated for 50. You've got 50. It's just like you're supposed to have. And just like you're supposed to have white tape on this, you're supposed to have black tape on this. So you've got what's known as a white hot. All right, if you don't know that's hot, again, you don't belong in this cabinet. But you're supposed to have black tape here. You're supposed to have white tape here. Moving on down, we got this little red dot that I found. What's that red dot for? Well, they've double lugged. They're using one circuit breaker to control 2 different circuits. Now, this circuit that I don't know what it's going to because I can't read it. But they're bootlegging the lawn sprinkler receptacle, which is not GFCI protected. You got this big old opening here. Speaking of gaps, we're talking about this gap. Talking about this gap where the fire's going. We're also talking about this gap. Got a big old hairy gap right there too. Code says no more than 1/16 of an inch. Look at that. So in this cabinet cover, it's supposed to fit tight to this. It can't because see the way it's recessed behind there, making that gap. So the cabinet cover fits flush to here instead of here. And so that means this is a big old cavity coming back to some flammable areas. So it's a fire safety issue. It's a fire safety issue. You know what I'm not seeing in this cabinet? There's no way you can know. I get it. All right, but I'm not seeing the bonding location. Grounding, I can't find the grounding. Let's see, ground, I got the main neutral. Main ground goes out somewhere. That's not what I'm thinking. Huh. That's interesting. Still can't find it. The bonding location is bonded over here on the water heater cold side on this pipe right over here. That's where it's bonded, right right up in there. There's bonded right up in there. And then we're moving on along. And I just realized this. You see this big old braid right here? Those are your grounds. Those are all your grounds. Your ground, it's okay to double lug a ground. See, these have been double lugged. That's not okay. Neutrals, you should not double lug. All right? But the grounds are not supposed to be more than triple lugged. And some don't even allow triple lug. They allow double lugging, but not triple lugging. Some allow triple lugging. But not a gajillion billion lugging. No, that was definitely done wrong. That was definitely done wrong at any time. It's been in the code for a long time. Now let's study this. This is a new circuit that we brought in. All right. And we're coming along. We're looking at this white hot. Is that just a different color, or has this yellowed? It looks to me like it might have yellowed. Okay. Are you through? Almost. See where it says Cutler hammer? Safety breaker? That's printing. See where it says AC? See where it says whatever it says? See all this? That's handwriting. The code, and again, I didn't make this up. The code says they should be labeled with printed, durable labels. So this doesn't happen. You can't rely on this. You don't know anything. They had to come over here and write AC on this because they could no longer read it over here. So this is not legible, and it's not durable, and it's not printed. So what do we learn? We learned that we cannot find our bonding. We learned that we've got gaps in our panel. We learned that we got holes in our panel. We learned that we've got bundling. We learned that our neutral is not wrapped with white tape. We learned that our white hot's not wrapped with black tape. We learned that we got double lug neutrals. We learned that we got a double lug breaker. We learned that we got a quadruple lug ground. We learned that our bonding location is not labeled. Again, that big old hole right there. We got the gaps in the panel. We learned that it's not labeled properly.